Jeff Gordon, and you're watching Racing America.
Hello, and welcome into your favorite, well, hopefully your favorite, weekly racing talk show from Texas. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee right here. I spent Roddy Rodriguez. That's my man right over there to your computer screen left. And yeah, partner, we were just talking about it. Weather finally coming to our area for the first time in like 45 days.
Oh, my man, it looks like that's going to be the cream of the crop this weekend. Already some races here in the Texas area that have been, I guess, canceled. I guess it has been.
Well, postponed to Halloween, yeah.
Yeah. So you've had all of that moving around, and it definitely seems like, so I guess we're down to here in our area. We are down to, I guess, only I-37, right? Because I think everything else is kind of washed out at this point. So, hey, man, that's even in North Texas, like I was telling you in some of the pre-show, I'm heading over to TMS for an event, and it's looking pretty bad. So we'll see, man. That's where they get the brunt of the weather sometimes.
Yeah, it's always an interesting mix up in North Texas, which is surprising because maybe our friends from Florida understand how big it is from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state, you know, because it's so long going down that long. But yeah, there's a total different weather pattern that can happen up in the Metroplex with DFW versus what can happen down in the southern section of Austin and San Antonio. So
yeah,
what is it they joke about? If you don't like the weather in Texas, hang out for about 5 minutes and it'll change, except for the middle part of the summer.
Yeah,
where it's hotter than Hades.
Yeah, and it's really weird up there because you get, like, I was watching a couple of different forecasts for DFW just a little bit ago, and they're talking about, like, possibly 4 inches of rain and the wind, and I've been there so many different times. I was down there for a Power Eye event back in I think it was March or April. I went to TMS. It was going to be a one-day show that we were doing up there. Everything looked totally fine, and then it turned into, Bobby, I shit you not, you want to turd floater is putting it nicely with what we had over there, and the wind was out of control. But the folks that have been to TMS, throughout the history of Texas Motor Speedway know that, you're there and you might hear tornado alarms where it's like,
been there. Been there.
Yeah.
Was announcing it the little Texas Motor Speedway for a dwarf race, or a legend car race rather. And they made the call that we needed to shut it down and evacuate the premises. And that was it. Although I still have never figured out and never found out if it was a weather related thing or if it was a safety related thing, because all the porta johns were turned over sideways. And I don't know if that's because they go through and knock them over to keep people from hiding in them, or if the wind went ahead and knocked them over. Either way, I'd hate to have been inside it if that was a protocol thing. I don't think they just knock, and think they just take that ATV and ram that damn thing over.
Yeah, and it's like, not to laugh at, you have to make light of it. When this stuff happens, what else can you do? So our Cracker Jack staff right there has provided us with a backdrop right there. We haven't had to use this, and that's a funny thing. We've had it for a little bit with the rain thing, but it's been a little more forgiving lately. But I think that's what we're seeing around here now. Texas Dwarf Car Nationals, that has been pushed back. So that was with the Lone Star Dwarf Club and the DCRST, they had a big event scheduled up over there at Rocket. So that goes away, and I think they've rescheduled something for I think in November at some point, but it's not the national thing. So that kind of sucks for them. But that's what happens when you get into to this time of the year. And when they were talking about, and that's what really stunk about it, because I saw the dude from Lone Star Club where he was talking about that, and I was thinking, well, what about Cotton Bowl? Because to me, that's kind of the one spot where I'm like, if you got a big event to be run it at Cotton Bowl, because that kind of, to me, is the spot where it's kind of, again, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but it's easier to get to. But I think the Cotton Bowl is
located in the state, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, kind of right in the middle of stuff. But I think that the Cotton Bowl location as well is not going to be the driest coming up this weekend here in Central Texas.
Yeah, lucky for us, we got our show in all 3 days down at Texana, so that was a good time. So
yeah. I was disappointed to see, and it did suck, because I'd reached out to Selby Holder to maybe get him on for the Lucky 13 Fall Classic going on at Heart of Texas Speedway. I never got a response, and then about I guess it was about an hour later, you messaged me with the post right there that's been postponed as well, which that's kind of that's kind of a double kick in the nads right there for them. But they are still doing. And I think it's really cool there for Jerry Frederick that they're going to do the Remembrance of Life. That's still going to be going on. I don't think weather's going to, mess that up, but they'll still be doing that at Heart of Texas Speedway. Check out Hot Speedway on Facebook for additional information there. But yeah, the Fall Classic goes by the wayside as well.
Yeah, crazy. Lots of racing stuff in our area. It sucks when it's the big shows. Well, it sucks on a weekly race, right?
Yeah.
But as we'll talk to Tim about it later on, when these big races get impacted by weather, there's so many factors you have to think about. Traveling, people with hotels, people with the condos that they rent, especially down there in Pensacola for the week with the Derby, and so many factors when you have a big show like this that you got to usually make the call remotely early.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times is what happens, because you just have to, you're worried about losing your own ass as the promoter, but then you got to worry about everybody else too.
That's where it's been the last couple of times that I was able to get down to Snowball, where I would, when we would go, it was usually, hotel, whatever. But I know, I mean, the last time vividly, I remember the last time I was down there, we went down and it was a Saturday that was just horrible. I mean, it rained all day, Bobby. It was so bad when I was there. And I was staying with some friends, or I actually wasn't staying with them, but I got invited they had an Airbnb. And this was like a house, and it was the SEC championship game was going on. It was Texas, or it was Georgia and Alabama that were playing that year, as they usually do. And we spent all day there, and we still got the race in on Sunday. I think that wound up being, hell, that may have been a doubleheader. Or no, I think they ran the flake on Monday. But it all worked out. But yeah, that is so hard when you get into that, to where people are so quick to want to, when you have to make that call. But when you're in big show season, this isn't just folks from, traveling from 30 miles away. I mean, these are folks from other states and so forth. And it gets really, really hard and really, really tough to make that call, because there really is so much on the line that goes into putting these shows together.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, the amount of, I think nowadays the plight of the promoter, not that we're trying to, make light of the promoters, but I mean, it really is. It's not as simple as just flip them lights on anymore. You
No.
got to coordinate everything with your streaming and your traveling and everything else. Then you got to worry about trying to get in a rain date if you got a series that's coming in. Like, it's so damn complicated. It's not like it used to be years ago, because you have so many factors. Because you don't want to schedule anything. The only thing that I know that's scheduled the first weekend of December anywhere around the country is the Derby, because that's always championship weekend around the country for college football.
Yeah. And the other part of it too is really that infrastructure that we talk about, because there's so much that has to, weather can affect so many different things. And we've seen it with streaming. We see it, like you said, with our streamers. We see where they are so affected with it, because you have trying to put on broadcast now with electronic timing and scoring, with everything that you have to figure into that. It gets really, really hard. And one little glitch right there can totally ruin everything. I mean, there's always a backup plan when it comes to scoring and all of that. But I kind of laugh at that sometimes, because I see, we know so many people that did hand scoring, for years back when we were younger in our heyday with racing around here. But it's like, you always have that manual score sitting there ready to go. But it's like, when it really happens, have they actually done that before?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're so, with My Race Pass and Race Monitor and all, it makes it so nice. But at the same time, there's a lot of equations that need to be figured out when all that's going on.
Yeah, lots of craziness. Most tracks still have the hand score and the electronic scoring too. So usually it just has to be done just in case. I mean, most good race directors always have a stopwatch handy too, for in case the stopwatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
In case the timer don't work. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. It is. Oops, sorry about that, Bobby. You really do have to have all of that stuff ready to go, because you don't know what you might run into. As Bobby mentioned, we're going to talk to Tim Bryant here in just a matter of minutes as we get set for the World Crown 300 coming up at Cordele Motor Speedway. That's going to be quite the show. We'll get a weather update from him. Hopefully, that's not something that he has to discuss with us. But before we talk to Mr. Bryant, let's kind of give you a preview of what's coming up this weekend at Cordele. Well, that was supposed to be a live video, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, you saw him coming down the front straightaway, so I think you get the idea of what we're talking about right there. So let's go diving in. World Crown 300 Cordele Motor Speedway. It is one of the crown jewels that we love to talk about all the time. And joining us, a friend of the program, a friend of short track racing, and a man that is perfectly ready to go for a big event coming up. It is our man, Mr. Tim Bryant. How you doing, sir?
Good, Rodney. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely, Tim. So how's the preparation going for this one? Again, like I said, when you get these crown jewels, this is prime time.
Well, listen, I mean, there's just a lot of excitement in the air. I mean, it's the World Crown 300 has had a place in short track history and tradition for many years, and to see what the Nolans are doing to resurrect that at Cordele Motor Speedway is certainly generated a lot of excitement. We got a good field of cars. It's going to be a very competitive race over there this weekend, and we think the future is really bright to bring the World Crown 300 back to where it belongs, and that is, amongst the biggest of short track events. When you talk about that, of course, not to slight anybody, because there's, as you know, so many great short track events going on now. But back in the day, you talked about the Winchester 400, you talk about the All-American 400. The World Crown 300 and the Snowball Derby, and certainly it's certainly finding its place back in that group, and I'm really tickled to death that that's happening.
So, Tim, is that add any pressure when you try to resurrect the event like that, knowing the history of the World Crown 300? Obviously, the Derby, you have the experience with the pressure of the Derby and all of that. But, I mean, it's got to be a little bit added pressure, especially with the rise, as you said, of Cordele kind of bringing its presence back to the national scene here.
Well, you know what? That's a good question. And the real truth of the matter is there's pressure on putting on any event nowadays because there's so many good events going on. And there's a lot of great promoters out there in the country and some really great racetracks. And everybody wants, their marquee event to kind of have its own identity, if you would. But I do believe the Nolans, again, have really stepped up. First off, what they've done with that facility down there is just people are aghast when they come into Cordele Motor Speedway now with what they've done to the facility, and it's always been a really racy racetrack. Some of the best Southern Super Series we've ever had have been at Cordele because the track is just really racy. It's multi-groove, it's nice and smooth. The racers love it, and it's really fast for the size of the speedway that it is. So that all being said, coupled with, kind of to your question, I mean, what we want to get a stellar field of cars there. We want to get a packed grandstand, and those are the kind of things that a track can really build their event on. And I don't know that all that's going to happen in this year. This is, I think, year 2 for the World Crown. But they've definitely gotten people's attention. What they've done on the prize money side is just phenomenal. So I mean, certainly getting racers' attention. And for folks that did not have it on their original schedule for 2025, many of them have made taken the proper steps to put it on their schedule. But there are a few teams that couldn't. They just didn't budget for it earlier in the year. So it'll be without a couple of big name drivers. But I just think over time, and maybe even as soon as next year, you're going to see every good short track racer in the country support this event.
Tim, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that you and your family have done so well at Pensacola is what you've done with that facility. And you mentioned the Nolans, what they've done there at Cordele. Kind of speak to that part, because we were just talking about that, to where now when it comes to short track racing, it's not, especially with big events like this and big race season, it's not a matter of you have to have facilities that, number one, are fan friendly. You have to have them very inviting for the folks to come out. It has to be racer friendly with pit accommodations and ease of access and all of that. Kind of speak to that. The racing surface, we all talk about Pensacola all the time, where it's like it can grind you up, and that's great. That's great on the surface itself. But you want people, when they get to that facility, whichever it is, you want them to feel very homely for a big event like this.
Yeah, Rodney, our culture has just changed, I think, as a society, and certainly within our sport, we felt it as well. I mean, it used to be, back in the day, for those of us that have been around this sport a long time, it wasn't anything for people to go out and, buy a ticket, go in and sit on a wood board for 3.5 Today's consumer expects a little bit more. They want nicer amenities, and certainly if you look around at what even minor league baseball has done in most of our cities and places like that, they're being accommodated, as a racetrack we have to kind of follow suit with that. So we're all making improvements as we can, and certainly what they've done there at Cordell, they built a hospitality suites and just have the place spiffed up. Their concessions are top notch, and so they've got good lighting, good sound system. Those are the kind of things that fans. There was a time when they were really pleased when they saw that, but now it's almost expected when fans racetrack. So again, they've done a good job of that. At the end of the day, though, folks are going to be treated to one heck of a race this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim, before you come on, we were talking about we talk about the plight of the promoter to a certain extent, just because we work with so many promoters on the show and know so many. When it comes to the planning of a big race like either the Derby or the World Crown, how many backup contingency plans do you have? B, C, D? You go all the way to F? I mean, because there's so much into it. Like Rodney said, it's not like your local show where you got guys coming in maybe a couple hours away. You got teams driving hours to come see you. Like what? Like there's the bottle of Tums? Is it like the industrial size, from BJ's wholesale, or what do you have going on for backup plans for that?
Well, no matter how well you plan and how many backup plans you have, you'll always come up with something over the course of a weekend that you didn't see coming. So you have to kind of react on the fly and make the most sound decisions you can when something does pop up like that. But again, the ideal situation is what we have going on this weekend, in that we've worked. Our Southern Super Series group has worked well with the Nolans, Greg and Lori, and their team over there. Courtney is just a really cross all the T's, dot all the I's guy, and Rodney's done a great job getting the facility ready. So again, all you can do is what you can do, and make sure that you've got all your bases covered. Really, in direct answer to your question, the number one thing that we all worry about, and I think I heard you guys mention it earlier, is what Mother Nature has in store for you, and she has really taken a lot of pressure off of us this weekend because she's given us a really nice forecast. So the guys from far away are not too hesitant to come down. I think the fans are going to be comfortable in the grandstands Friday night. There's also going to be a pro truck support event along with the World Crown 300. So it should be a good night of entertaining racing in a comfortable environment.
And Tim, you all do such a great job. I've been at your track on a Saturday to where you've got water halfway up the guardrail. I'm like, there's no way we're going to have a snowball derby, and somehow we raced on time the next day. So you all do a great job with that. Kind of talking about the crown jewels and the fact that you mentioned the Winchester 400, the All-American. I mean, all of these. How great is it that as much as the sport has evolved and there have been different things that have happened, somehow along with, of course, with the Derby, how great is it that we do still have the opportunity to have these events, even if it is kind of starting, maybe starting over a little bit, so to speak. But the fact that we do still have these traditional events for we short track folks. NASCAR is whatever it is, but we still have our main core of events that really mean a lot to us.
They do mean a lot to us, and we it's testament to a group of old school racers that are keeping the tradition alive on these type of events. And then of course we've got a good young crop of hardcore short track people that maybe they think NASCAR. There was a time when I think every driver got into the sport because they thought it was a stepping stone to NASCAR, and now we're seeing shift in that we see people that are happy being short track racers, and there's some big short track events, and with the advent of social media and all the great media coverage that guys like y'all give us with these events, we're making a few stars out of some of these guys. I will tell you, the dirt track side of short track racing has done a better job than that in recent years than we have as far as building stars, and my excuse on that is we have so many kids that are just kind of coming through the system. They're here for a couple of years and then they're moving up. But we have right now a really strong group of of short track guys that want to be short track guys with no aspirations of moving up. And slowly but surely we're making stars out of these guys. So I think that's vitally important to keeping these big events kind of on the map. We'll see some changes. I mean, there's discussions about, do guys really want to run 400 laps at Winchester? They want to run 300 laps at Cordele, 300 laps at the ball. But right now we're maintaining tradition, and who's to say what's down the pipeline for those type of distance races. But right now, I think the fans are kind of getting what they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your attention span of your fan nowadays is just getting smaller by the year, so it's hard to think about those big 300 lap races. Although we love it, we'll sit there and watch them run in circles till we're blue in the face. But we're not the ones that buy all the tickets and keep coming back to fill up the grandstands. In terms of the Cordele as itself, it feels like it's kind of turned itself into the ecosystem of late model racing and somewhat Southeast racing fairly well. It got the attention of Dale Jr. enough to get a Cars Tour race down there. I mean, talk about your experience of like this Cordele kind of. I mean, you guys are in completely different markets, so to speak. Same competitors, but media markets. But talk about the rise of Cordele. I mean, I think that it's come on a lot of people's radar in a short period of time. Like I said, the Nolans have done a fantastic job up there.
Well, I mean, they really have. I mean, it's always been a racy racetrack. The Southern Super Series going there for years, and we've put on some really good races. The Lyle family, operated a very nice, clean short track that we enjoyed going to. And when Mr. Lyle, Wayne Lyle, passed away, the family didn't really want to keep the track, and along come the Nolans, and was kind of the saving grace, I believe, for Cordele. And their willingness to invest in this sport in such a way has just been a breath of fresh air. Not only the improvements they made to the facility itself, but putting on an event like the World Crown 300. Guys, this race is paying $35,000 to the winner, and there's bonus money for people that have run their Superfest races through the year to even increase that. The start money, the base start money for this race is $3,000. I mean, there's guys going and running 100-lap races that don't pay that to win. So the prize is exceptional. And thankfully there's people like the Nolans, and there's others around the country that are able to go in and invest in this type of event. I mean, I think it's just a really good thing for the future of short track racing.
Absolutely. So for the weekend, we can kind of talk about drivers that are entered. I've been following that throughout the week. I saw Bubba Pollard actually is entered now for this. There was some question if we would see him before Pensacola, but he's locked into this. But it looks like, I guess, maybe a two-sided question, Tim. It looks like there's plenty of fun stuff for the fans as well. You mentioned the full entertainment value of everything that comes out of this. Plenty of pre-race stuff. Kind of preview what we're dealing with here when it comes to the World Crown 300 this weekend there at Cordele.
Okay, well, let's start with the entry list, Rodney. I mean, you mentioned Bubba Pollard, of course. In the same breath, you always have to mention Stephen Nasse. I mean, those are the kind of, no disrespect to anybody else, but those guys have been the face of the Southern Super Series for a long, long time. And those are the kind of guys I was talking about, us being able to continue to try to work to build start power out of those guys. They want to be short trackers, and certainly we want them to maintain that. But we've got a strong list of guys coming in this weekend. Johnny Sauter being one, former Truck Series champion. Colby Howard will be in the Anthony Campy machine. Michael Atwell, who dominated the Rattler 250 earlier this year, will be at Cordele. Hudson Bulger, somewhat of a little bit of a local favorite over there. Of course, we can't overlook Jet Nolan himself,
right,
who so well there and has won some really big super races. Jet will definitely be a contender. Dustin Smith from Mobile just captured the Rogers Dabbs Challenge Pro Late Model Championship at Montgomery last Saturday night. He's on a bit of a roll. And of course, Jake Garcia, who won earlier this year, along with Matt Craig, who is I call Matt the perennial podium finisher, because it seems like no matter where he goes, when he finishes second. If he don't finish second, he finishes. It seems like he's always on the podium. And then, of course, got to mention Spencer Davis, too, who's teamed up with the Ben Kennedy Racing team this year, has won some big races. And, of course, there's others as well. I hope I haven't overlooked anybody, but it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be it certainly isn't going to be a cakewalk for anybody.
That's right.
So in terms of the Southern Super Series, I think is a unique animal, and no disrespect by calling it an animal. I think it's a great series because to make every box check off, and it works great because it helps out Pensacola with the Blizzard Series and the overall Touring Series, and then you go all the way down to New Smyrna to try to help out Rusty and the guys down there with the Heart Memorials and stuff like that, and Speed Weeks and all of that. So in terms of the, is there any plans to go bigger, or is that what the ASA Stars Tour is for the guys that want to try to go national coast to coast?
I think Bobby's asking if you're coming to Houston, Tim. I think that's what he's trying.
Get on it. I mean, as far as a national tour, the ASA Stars National Tour is kind of it. I mean, it's got 12 marquee events. They've got a fantastic program for the guys that commit to those 12 races. The prize money is good, and their plan money, as we call it, is good. And of course, with that, we combine on a couple of those races with the Southern Super Series. But we're fine being a regional tour. We kind of want to stay in the Southeast. Not everybody wants to go to Wisconsin to run races, and so for those guys, they could chase a Southern Super Series championship. But we work really hard on our schedule so that we don't overlap. So I can run our regional tour and run the ASA Stars National Tour if he chooses to. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, our Super Series is in its 13th year now. So we're kind of proud. We don't try to be something we're not. We're just a group of guys that want to win and help racetracks put on good races. And treat competitors fair and have to be prize money for them along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one for me, Tim. Kind of tell folks where you get additional information coming up for the World Crown 300. It's going to be spectacular. Weather's cooperating. So tell folks, and of course, you can catch it right here on Racing America as well if you can't actually get to the Speedway.
Absolutely, yeah. We're looking forward to having Racing America on hand. I also got to mention for folks that want to record deal, and it's a beautiful drive over there. It's a really quaint Georgia town. I always enjoy it. But Mr. Nolan has brought in a motorcycle stuff. Going to be on track right before the start of the 300 between the pro truck race and the 300 on the schedule. That alone would be the price of admission. Anyway, that being said, SouthernSuperSeries.com has all the schedule information. Of course, CordellMotorspeedway.com has all the information as well there. Cordell's a great little town. Fun to go to, and we look forward to it every year. I think this weekend concerning Speed Fest 2026. So look forward to that. But we'd like to invite folks to come on out and check us out in person. And if it's too far to go, I certainly want to be on Racing America.
You betcha.
All right, Tim, well, the best of luck this weekend over there in Cordele for the 300, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again before the Derby, because I think this is the year the stars are lining up that Roddy and I get a chance to go back to Pensacola and have a good time for about a week and tell the stories that get the racers to tell the stories when the mic's off that we wish they would tell with the microphones on. So best of luck. Glad Mother Nature's taking care of you this weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Guys, we appreciate your time.
You bet. Take care, Tim. There he goes. Tim Bryant, one of the most influential people when it comes to operating these events in the World Crown 300 coming up at Cordele Motor Speedway. And that list that he was going through right there of drivers, that tells you it's going to be a pretty stacked field. And I think for a lot of us, when it comes to the weather that we've been talking about here in Texas, Bobby, it's going to be a good day to be checking out Racing America. I think it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely going to be the right weekend to kind of stay at home and stay abreast of the racing action. And I'm looking forward to this race. I mean, I remember when it was at Peach State, for years, that was right down the road from my grandparents' house when we would spend the summers in there. I've only was able to go to Peach State one time, and it was amazing. It's like walking into the grounds of San Antonio, this just big old fast half mile down there in kind of north central Georgia, if you will, for the lack of a better way to try to describe it. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, then we just found out I guess a month ago that they lost Lanier for good, and developer deal there with the Lanier Raceway that was their NASCAR regional powerhouse track for years. Number of different late model stars came out of there to move on up to the Cup Series and all of that. And so, Georgia's, I'm glad to see Cordeal, work. It's a little further north tracks,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like Tim said, it's a great drive. I mean, there's a lot, it's pretty countryside up there. I mean, I'm just saying that just because my kinfolk live up there, but it's a good little drive, especially from Pensacola. That's a little bit of a chug right there. That's a good 4 or 5 hour chug at least, depending on how fast you're going with the racing trailer.
And the thing about it is to where, like he was talking about right there with all of these big events, and we see it on the dirt side as well. But I think where dirt, it may be, and he alluded to this, to where dirt has done such a good job with what they've done with big events and so forth and so on, to where it's a little more regional. But yeah, when you get into Winchester, when you start talking about now with Cordeal there, it's they're all around the same time of the year. And I think a lot of folks could say, I mean, look, ultimately the end result is everything ends the first weekend of December at Five Flag Speedway. I mean, that is the one.
That's it. That's the destination point.
Yeah, that is the one. So when you see, yeah, if you have 25, 27 cars, and I start seeing people say, well, the car count's down. Well, yeah, some people just can't do that. And that's where it gets tough, where if the event, that's a nice thing that what I like about the Rattler 250 is that son of a gun's in March or April, so it's like
at the beginning of the year when everybody's got money.
Yeah. So it is way out there. It's not really a part of the cluster of the big events that are right now at the end of the year. So, but I'm looking forward to this one, because he mentioned the two names right there. He mentioned, when it comes to Southern Super Series, he mentioned Bubba and he mentioned Nassie. And
they are the needle movers. They are the needle movers for sure.
That's right. You get those two guys together. Jet Nolan is a guy, and look, I mean, we talked to Michael Atwell. He mentioned Michael Atwell. That's a dude that you get him in the field right here in that Davidson number 14, and that's a dude that's going to contend. So I think that it's going to be quite the show coming up this weekend in Georgia.
Well, I think he mentioned something about the dirt series and dirt tracks able to make more heroes, if you will, out of some of their drivers. And he made the point, and it's a very good point, that a lot of people think it's the stepping stone to get to where, like they come through so fast through a development deal and stuff like that and want to end up in the Cup Series. Where you Lucas Oil dirt late model series, that's the top echelon of where they're at, where they want to be. So I think that the good point about the drivers, like you said, when we went to the Derby a couple of years ago, inside the Derby merchandise tent, you could tell who the mainstays and the main stars were going to be, because their merch was hanging up on the side of the tent. Bubba Pollard, Casey was up there. So a lot of the superstars were the ones that you knew were going to be the committed to it, and that's that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that dirt may have more established stars, because that's there's other places for the super late model drivers to go, and some of them don't make it and come back and have a perfect career short tracking it across the country. So
yeah, I think it's a really big thing there, like Tim talked about, to where you do have folks that are, and I think a lot of times we say that they are satisfied with being where they are right now, and it's not. I think the word that needs to be used more. He didn't use this word. I think he used the right word. It's they're content in being in short track racing, because that really is. I mean, you think about that, $35,000 to win a short track race, that's unheard of. And some of these dirt purses that we see, in some of these upper tier series, I mean, that really is a big thing. I mean, there's travel factored in, everything that we talk about all the time. But I think the other part of that is there's more opportunity, when it comes to some of these races. And I think at the same time, and this is where it's kind of sad when you look at the national level to where we've seen, I mean, there are some right now that are in the top 3 series of NASCAR where we know damn good and well that they are perfectly capable of wheeling any type of machine that you put them in, but they end up getting to that next level, but just because of the equipment and finances and all the different stuff that they kind of fade away. And like you said, they come back and they never really get to utilize that potential that they had. And that sucks, but that's where it's a business, man. It is just a business.
It is a business. The race teams don't run without money. The deal is like that video I sent you with Ross Chastain talking about money. It's always been about money. Somebody's had to pay to get you somewhere. Either you had family money or you had a buddy's money or whatever. You've always had to have money to race any kind of league. You and I both, we tried to run it out of our pockets when we ran local short track racing, and we both ran out of money, fairly quickly. That's why we're not racing anymore. So, kudos to the guys that make it, and, more power to the ones that do. But I would say that when maybe it's our core base of friends, we don't have near as many people bitching about a Southern Super Series race or the Winchester 400 or, the Rattler or any of these other races. We don't see near as much bitching on social media as we do about the Cup stuff. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're a Pass fan this past week, but.
Ooh, yeah, not good there for Austin Terrace. Austin Terrace with the DQ and some questionable whatever there as DJ Shaw ends up getting the win there in the past 400. But that's again, a lot of that's speculative as to what may have happened there. But some of that kind of lines up. We always try to find a cut of the week from some of the major NASCAR, stuff that we hear. And it's funny that we're sitting here talking about drivers that when it comes to finances and when it comes to different things, I think it was Dirty Mo Media door bumper clear. Somebody puts a microphone in Jimmy Spencer's mouth. Here's what Mr. Excitement had to say this week.
The other thing that I believe in is that shows the talent. I mean, who's that Riley Herbst? That poor son can't drive nothing.
Are you going to pick on every one of my teammates?
Well, no, he can't. I mean, we know he's not going to be in that car next year.
He is going to be in it next year, I think. I hope.
Hey, he said he likes Bubba. So
he likes Bubba. You're doing good there.
So who's going in now? I thought, what are they doing with the 11 driver?
Heim?
Yeah.
I don't really know at this point. I think he's definitely got some part-time stuff, but I don't know if he's going to be full-time anything.
Well, they're making a mistake. Evidently, that kid's bringing a sponsor. Makes a lot of sense because that damn Heim can drive a truck.
He can drive about anything, yeah.
So I'm going, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I'm saying. So if your daddy got a lot of money, somebody's got a fat pocketbook. I mean, it's awful. Now, we got this kid 88. Zilich?
Yeah.
I never met him.
You'd like him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I like him. I like him because it pushes the pedal. Oh.
There it is. That's the current activity of things right now, and that's just unfortunately the way that it works. Because I mean, I think we've said it so many times to where, with all these, with the big series, to where there are drivers that race on Friday and Saturday nights that are more talented than some of these folks and have the ability. I guess it should be. But the other part of that really is to where you start having that conversation is the ability is one thing, but to be able to put it all together, because we see the late model guys, the super late model guys, even the pro late model guys, to where it's like ability is great, but you have to, when these things are in your face and dealing with different things, they can show their ass from time to time, and again that hurts your reputation, that hurts everything that you have if you're really looking to make a living at this thing.
Well, I mean, I think that we always say money buys speed, how fast you want to go, and that's a legit point. Donnie Wilson, a friend of the show, love the guy, known him for 25 years. Those seats ain't cheap over there.
Yeah,
but he only puts top notch money in those seats. And that's not a bad thing. That's a business decision. As you said, these things are run on money. These things are run like a business. And that becomes a challenge. We've seen the same thing with some of the James Finch machines. We've seen, all of those type of deals with different machines and all of that. Campy's another one that runs it like a business and stuff like that. So I just think that I mean, we saw it today, the other day. Justin Haley, boom, gone out of the Spire car. Hell, that's where Corey Heim was supposed to go, but Daniel Suarez has a sponsor and a different connection. That one I sent you about the TWG group with his buddy Sergio Perez. But I just think that it's sad that sometimes it's always about money, but it is what it is. The race cars don't pay for themselves, although some of these kids think they do with a magical check and a pin. But race cars don't pay for themselves, so usually.
Well, and that's why it's refreshing when you see folks that come through, and I mean we've got some right here out of Texas, you know, where they come through, and we know their ability to not only operate behind the wheel, but we know their ability to work on race cars. We know their ability to do shows like this. I mean, to talk to people, to have, if you got a sponsor presentation thing or whatever, they're able to handle that as well, to where you're able to do that full package together. And that's where this whole thing has really changed, to where it, we can say it's for fun and stuff, and it really is. I mean, it's still fun when you get down to race day and watching them and, all these different things most of the time. But, where we say with the helmet and the bad guy that kind of shows up and does whatever. Yeah, that's a real thing. I mean, that really is a real thing. But odds are, a lot of times, if you're in that situation, you do have to do other things outside of the racetrack. I mean, because a lot of times, like Spencer was talking about right there, when we talk about daddy's money and daddy's checks and all these different things. Yeah, that happens. But a lot of times daddy's got to go find that money too. And so that's an integral part of all that equation.
Well, Riley Herbst is still signing stuff at the merch hauler, and he's still going to monster stuff with Monster Girls. So it's not like he just shows up and does nothing. Everybody makes the weekend appearances at the haulers. They're signing the merch and stuff like that. So it's all about money, but at the same time, these guys work for it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of working hard, On Demand Shirts, they are the official apparel provider of the Revved Up Sports Show, of mine, of Bobby, and a lot of folks that check in on this, and a lot of racetracks. And you look at all of these big races that are going on right now as we're in big race season. If you're in the South Central, even up in the northern parts of Texas, odds are the merch that is at the racetrack was provided by On Demand Shirts. And they don't only do racing stuff, they do corporate stuff. They do lots of big time stuff, but you don't need to hear that from me. How about a word from James Cole and On Demand Shirts?
You've probably seen us all over the racing world and doing a lot of racing designs for events and race teams, but we also do a lot of stuff from small boutiques in small cities all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. Your brand deserves to be seen. We print on more than just shirts, hats, jackets, bags, and much, much more. Custom corporate branding starts here. Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
There it is, On Demand Shirts. Check them out and get in contact with them if you're looking for stuff. They can do the embroidered stuff like our polos are, screen printing, caps, everything. Koozies.
Those class shirts turned out great, by the way. We sold quite a few of those on Saturday.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So, be sure and check them out because they really are amazing at what they do. This past weekend, again, great conversation. Thanks to Tim Bryant for checking in, and thanks to Cordeo Motor Speedway for putting that together with us right here, kind of last minute on a Wednesday. So looking forward to that. Again, you can catch that right here on Racing America if you're checking in on the Racing America platform. When we come to talking about great talents that are doing really great things, I mean, in Texas drivers, it is our man Jared Maupin that heads over to Montgomery in the Modifieds of Mayhem, and he wins in Rick Palero's car. And to watch the ascension here of Maupin, he seems to really have when it comes to the modified. And again, it's not surprising that he's got the modified wheeling the way it is right now. Really cool to watch what this guy has done in a very short period of time, going outside of the state of Texas to where it's been like the Texas guys can't get out of Texas and win shit. Nowadays, Jared Maupin's proven them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was just a matter of time. We thought it'd be a little sooner, but obviously bad brakes and just the way that the racing gods make it seem, I think that it's made this win sweeter for him, being able to go to the different tracks. But I think that's why I think he's lost a couple of races. I guess the old adage is you got to learn how to lose them before you learn how to win them, kind of deal. Because you need to know, oh, I needed just this little bit extra bump here. I needed this little bit extra, turn here. So I think that it comes a long way towards developing the overall package that you need. Obviously, him and John, they've worked together before. But John Heil is, the crew chief on that deal, and it takes the chemistry to do it. And I just think that it's I think it was a big time breakthrough for him to do that, and I think it's just going to lead more things. He's been really impressive in the limited late models, or the pro late models. I don't know why I said limited, pro late models. But he, I mean, we always joke, so you heard him here first. Same thing with Caden Honeycutt 4 or 5 years ago. You heard him here first.
And the thing about it is, especially with the modified, when you get outside of Texas, it is very much, especially with modifieds mayhem, it very much is a different scenario, because when you go to a different track, I mean, that's the thing with Houston, it's a 3/8 mile, and that's the one where, like, we kind of nudged Tim there talking about with Houston, to where it's like you do talk to a lot of people from further out in the Southeast, and it's like, we like the bigger tracks. It's not a 3/8 mile deal right here, but when you put Jared at Montgomery, and then with that great equipment, and I think that's what's been so great for him. When we talk about opportunities and different things for people to ascend themselves, Jared's a great example to where he wound up. I mean, he has impressed enough that he ends up in that stuff right there, Bobby, and that's some of the best that you're going to find. And I'm not talking about the best in Texas. That's some of the best shit you're going to find in the country. And when you get a dude in that, and driving a John Heil Pro Late model, and driving a Rick Polero Outlaw, I mean, that's a dude where I think that when we get to Pensacola, because again, everything ends up in Pensacola, I think that when we get down there in December, that there's going to be a lot of people. Now they're familiar with the guy, but I think here's that opportunity. And how many times have we seen that in Pensacola in December, to where it's like, this dude burst on the scene, and whether it's in any of those divisions we just named, this guy does stuff, and it's like, shit, where'd he come from? I mean, how'd that happen?
They're familiar with Jared Mopin. We know Jared Mop.
That's right. They've been getting that wrong. They've been getting that wrong all year.
Not that I throw shade at other announcers for getting names wrong, because I do it all the time too. But yes, we know Jared Mopin. They know Jared Mopin.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to that one. There is we continue.
Vera Reels too. We know them too.
Oh yeah, exactly. Modifieds of mayhem. Despite some of the other conversation, I did have a short conversation with Stan Narrison a little bit earlier this week. They are actually going to be at New Smyrna in November. I think there was something about maybe being in Houston. I think maybe that final race in Houston is going to be a big. And again, we'll confirm this, but I can only speculate that that's going to be a higher paying modified race, but not a modifieds of mayhem race that weekend. They're going to be at New Smyrna. So that's how that will all work out.
Because I was thinking, you think about Texas, right? About how, guys coming to Texas 10, 12 years ago, that was a different story. When you had the mods as the top class in Houston, and there was, 20 a week racing at the Palace of Power, those guys could go anywhere in the country and win. And they did. Same thing with late model guys back. Chris is one that went out and won. Casey Smith's another one that kind of went out and won. Hell, he won a Southern Super Series championship there at Pensacola one year. So I think that, that's how much the times have changed, where the Texas racers have realistically fallen off the map because they really don't travel. Jared is the only one doing it.
And historically, it's always been, where I see that. I know a lot of times in the past, people would say, that the Texans traveling, which they did. I mean, you go back and you look, and it's kind of funny now, because like some folks kind of frown upon going to the Derby, or going to Pensacola, or going to Mobile, or whatever. But it never really was, even when we had what I would say were, thriving asphalts. I mean, we can say San Antonio, Houston, Corpus, we'll throw Kyle in the mix right there. Other than Texas Big Shot 250s, no outsiders have really clambered to get here. We
had a few one and done ones that came out and did it.
Right.
We can't forget Bailey Curry. Bailey Curry is another one you heard here first. Yeah. He traveled.
But it was, it's always been the Texans would go, because those have always been the hot spots for pavement racing, where it's like you wanted to race at Five Flags, you wanted to race at Mobile, back in those days. So it's always kind of been that. And I totally, I mean, who travels now? The legacies. They're the ones that travel. And I totally get that. You know, it's easier to do that, but you know, and that's where we go back to with Texas. If you're a racer, if you're a dirt track racer, you're traveling Texas, which that in and of itself probably is enough, because you could be in Corpus one weekend and then boom, here you are in DFW on the cusp of going into Louisiana. So it's a lot.
You know, but your races pay. I mean, Dalton Faulkner won $15,000 in 6 weeks in a factory stock.
Yeah,
$10,000 in Louisiana and almost $6,000 in Edna. So I think that's that class has the I was going to say affordability, but there's nothing really affordable about.
Those cars don't cost a lot to run. I mean, they're stock.
Yeah, stock in name and front hubs only, I guess. But those cars, you know, they pay a purse. You know, I mean, like I said, you got the big one that paid $30,000 to win at Boot Hill for a stock car. I mean, say what you will about factory stock. I mean, it's still, granted, they're all purpose built, you know, machines, but I mean, that's a short track race that paid $30,000. That's not on a national scale. It's a great big regional show that gets national attention. Yeah. Not enough national attention, but it gets national attention.
Yeah. No, I mean, there are plenty of them. I mean, there are plenty of them, and it costs a lot of money. I mean, it really does, no matter what you do. I mean, you sit here and you watch, I mean, it's never more evident than in asphalt racing, you know, with some of these big shows. And I see it in dirt too. And I think the dirt people just don't really want to wrap their heads around it, but there's not a lot of, I mean, well, let me take that back. When it comes to big shows, you do have the open trailers that show up, you know, and so forth. But everybody's boss hogging when they go to these races. When it comes to these guys that are going to be, when you start checking off people that are going to win races and are competing, they probably ain't rolling up in a open trailer. You know what I mean?
They ain't rolling up in no dually and no 36-foot trailer either.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, just the nature
of the toters. And the 18-wheeler haulers, and they, you know, the big haulers, you know, they ain't show. I mean, the only guy that I saw at a local show that showed up in a 36-foot trailer with a Chevy dually was Dale Jr.
Yeah.
When he ran the car store race to Florence.
Hey man, and it happens. Look, you know, I have talked about that for years and years and years, but when I got better at dwarf car racing and all these guys had enclosed trailers, I fucking went and got one too. So I mean, that's just kind of
what kills the sport, but yet at the same time, I understand why drivers have it, especially here, because you can get the ones with the roof, and you get that little you get that plastic sheeting shit for the door, and it stays cool in there versus, you know, the 125-degree heat index there at the racetrack.
Well, I mean, I told the wife that I needed it so the car didn't stay outside. And that was that was the winning version for me. It's like, hey, babe, we don't need the car outside. So yeah.
Speaking of that, how'd that go for you? Did you get bonus points yesterday for actually being home?
Oh, I did good. I did good. A big thanks to our friends or my friends now at the Double Chop Steakhouse. Kalahari. I went to Kalahari last night. Kind of, you know, they got the restaurants on the outside. Have never been over there, and went rolling up in there. They had us all set up in there. Great steaks, great ambiance. Piano player. She was singing tunes and doing all these different things. So yeah, I did good, man. I figured it all out on my own somehow.
Damn.
I don't know how that happened. You know, I called a guy who knew a guy, and boom, there it was.
Connections.
So I did it on my own. I called a guy who knew a guy.
Yeah, well, you got it done. Facilitating is half the battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, how winning, remembering your anniversary is a good chunk of the battle too.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's all good. That is definitely all good. Yeah, Jono. Yeah. A lot of them, and a lot of people have won, you know, out of an open trailer, and a lot of people do win when it comes to, you know, we're kind of honed in more on the big race season part about this, to where it really does encompass just a lot for these races, and yeah. I mean, it still happens. I mean, it definitely still happens. Yeah. And I hope that trend continues, but it's kind of the minority these days. unfortunately. But you know what? The thing about it is that's a great thing about it. What I figured, well, when I got my enclosed race car trailer, dwarf car trailer, it was like I knew a guy. So you go back to that. You go back to relationships. Who thank you, Todd McLemore, set me up with the thing right there. But they make it real easy to get them nowadays, right? To where it's like, oh, come on in here, man. We'll have you.
It's really easy to get them, and there's so many people with a bomber that's got one.
Yeah, that's the one, dude. That
before it was like, you had to have a certain class of car before you were socially acceptable to have an enclosed trailer. You had to have a super stock or a late model or something, higher end. Then you start bombers, and they're in 36 enclosed trailers. Not even a 24-footer. So hell, one of them showed up in a toter, and that wasn't even counting Mark Radimski.
That's the one that I wanted to mention. When that dude comes rolling up, and it's like, it's a big race, and it's like, oh shit, what is Mark bringing? You're expecting a modified and a truck to roll out of there, and that dude rolls out 5 grand stocks out of that thing.
Yeah,
it's like, holy shit, I want to go look at the floor on that trailer, see how much oil's leaking out of that thing. Yeah, but hey, whatever. Show up. I mean,
the margarita machines were always cold in that trailer.
Always a good time when it came down to that. One that is coming up, and I hope that the weather does work out for this one, but I got a feeling it's not going to, is so I guess now I've been really confused on this whole Rev thing with the Revolution Raceway Park. We saw a couple of months ago, I guess, that had been sold, no longer going to be a racetrack. I thought it was done, but I did see that I guess this weekend is going to be like the finale. This is it. That's done.
The third or fourth one, but
yeah,
I think it's real this time.
Well, I always see these different things to where it's like the deal has been done, the contract has been done, but it's like, look, man, I learned this getting paid in real estate. It's like when that sumbitch is closed and funded, the deal is done. So don't hold out hope. Don't hold out hope, because I think, as we damn well know as race fans, there's a lot of people that have run through these different parts and talk about doing all kinds of crazy things with all this money they have, and they ain't got a pot to piss in. So you never know. The Rev may survive. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. That was one thing I was going to ask Tim, and luckily we didn't have time to do it. But we always talk about the guys and gals, or the companies that own their own racetracks and are able to invest in their own property. Tend to be the ones that are the most successful. It's hard nowadays to see it. It's a very, very limited number of people that are able to do it. But I think that goes a long way. The Nolans, they own the place. They're able to invest in infrastructure because you don't have to pay the lease. I mean, you got to pay the bills, but you don't have to end up, have to have the extra expense of leasing it out from somebody else and putting your money into something that you don't own, because that's kind of not a great business plan, but I don't know. I mean, that's but I mean, Pensacola there is, his deal. So I think that it's we see it. I mean, I see it at my hometown track with the way that.
Well, and that's where it gets so hard, because we're at the time right now to where, when it comes to these tracks that are leased, to where it's like, okay, racing season ends. Racing season ends in November, March, whatever it is, but that lease payment does not. So it's due every month. And I mean, with that, and like when the cold sets in, I mean, you got to go out there, you got to do different things, you've got to heat buildings, you've got to do, I mean, whatever. And I think somebody would have to correct me, somebody that knows better with dirt tracks, but I would think that if your racing season ends in October, I think you still have to go out there and water the dirt and do all these different things, because you can't just let that shit sit there till March, because you're going to get out there and it's going to look like, the Baja 1000.
Well, I know TMS there for a while. A couple times we went, it looked like a cornfield. So.
Oh yeah. And that's where, it is hard, because the bills don't stop. And that's where we've heard Marianne talk about it in the past, to where it's like, and I saw that they're actually doing something in November. I think they're doing some kind of truck show
or something. Yeah. Different than their normal avenue.
Right. Right. So if you're one of these, event promoters or whatever, and you're looking for a facility in South Central Texas, I mean, you've got racetracks galore where you can come out that have ginormous pit areas to where you can do different things in the track in and of itself. So there's lots of space right there. So if you're looking for a venue, hit up these people because they got bills to pay too that don't stop.
Yeah, well, they're just like everybody else. The bills never stop.
That's right. That's right. Cars Tour. Cars Tour is all said and done with. Well, I guess that was the end, right? Pro late models. Keelan Harvick wins. Landon Huffman is your champion when it comes to the late model stocks. He had the bump and run there at the end with Quapple. Man, I love the Cars Tour. I mean, I really do. I really and truly do, and love how it's ascended itself into different things. But man, when the company cars are winning everything, that's why I see people kind of rumbling around a little bit, where it's like,
It makes it uncomfortable.
Yeah. When it
makes that little bitty elephant get just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And a little bit bigger. When it eats more cheese, it gets a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, when you get KHI, if that's even a thing still, but when you get Harvick's cars winning and all these Hendrick development drivers winning stuff, it's like, okay, come on. I mean, how long before? And again, I mean, this is where we go back to where we've seen in the late model. I think the late model stocks are a little bit different because we've seen Jared Fryer, for example, that not running a full tilt of the tour, but when he comes in, he's mega competitive and always winning races and top threes and doing different things. So I think it's still a very level playing field, but it's just where you get into these things and it's like, yeah, come on. It's, company cars winning that kind of sours it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, but I still say the Cars Tour is too big. I think it's gotten too big for what it is. I mean, realistically, and the sad part is it puts on better numbers than an ARCA race does.
Well,
the one show did anyway.
Better for one thing. Yeah.
Speaking of numbers, did you see head to head? Nobody bitched about the cup ratings this week from Talladega.
Oh, I saw them bitching.
They were bitching. It went down a little bit, but higher than 23. But it did beat F1, which I don't understand that race because it was packed cheek to cheek at that place. And Verstappen won by 10 seconds, something like that? 10 seconds. And they were cheering every damn lap. Never understood that about Formula One.
Yeah.
That's a cup race when Shane wins by 10 seconds a lap. Shit, they have a conniption fit, one because the foreigner's winning, and then two that the foreigner won by that much.
I think that's kind of the difference there with because it was about 1 million people there when it comes to the viewership, and I was kind of talking about that on Sunday on X to where that was going to be a really good barometer, I thought, because you had them both. You had them both in a time slot on network TV where they were both head to head with Fox and CBS with NFL games going on. But I think where NASCAR, what I liked about that was they started an hour earlier,
but ended an hour later.
And an hour later, yeah. But Formula One had their pre-race on. I haven't seen pre-race numbers. I know that. So it was 2.556 million for NBC and 1.5 million for ABC on the Formula One side. But the other part that I kind of mentioned on there that I thought was really funny and so true was I thought that both of them were going to have a really good audience, in that first whatever quarter window that you were going to have, and then at 3:25 the Cowboys were on, and look, I'm a Cowboys fan. People tune in to watch the Cowboys lose, but the Cowboys will shrink your TV number. So I think that kind of figured into some of those numbers a little bit.
Well, that's why they give it in gaps. You talk about your prime viewing or whatever the peak audience. They give you those kind of numbers or whatever. So it does make sense. Speaking of peak viewing numbers, did you talk about that on TSU this morning? The thing I sent you about the Super Bowl going to get moved to President's Day in 2027?
No. I didn't mention that. That's more. To me, that's bigger for NASCAR, I think, because
that's why they're redoing. That's why NFL's redoing their television rights early to add in the extra game to push the Super Bowl back a week to President's Day 3-day weekend.
Yeah. It and that only makes sense. But like I mentioned to you, I mean, it's I think that's one of those things where if you have a Super Bowl plan to where you plan to like not be in the best shape to work on Monday, to where you kind of figure out ways to not do that. I'm not telling you to call in or do whatever, but it's for a lot of people, it would be one thing. I think if it was I don't know what's a holiday, 4th of July. Yeah, where you had 4th of July to where that's more of a
Universal
national
holiday. Yeah,
yeah,
universal holiday.
yeah, to where the President's Day, it's like, not everybody's going to have that luxury when you call it a 3-day weekend. But here's what I was thinking about when that happened. But again, this is so, especially when it comes to that time of the year and it comes to, with the weather and so forth. I mean, imagine something to where if like in the old days, the Daytona 500 started at 11 a.m., 11:30 our time Central, an hour later Eastern time. And then you had all of that went, and then boom, there's the Super Bowl. Shit, that would be a day. I think that would be, you want to talk about massive NASCAR ratings. I think that would be, well, I don't know. You got all the Super Bowl shit that is 6 hours before the game.
6-hour pregame for the Super Bowl to talk about two teams for 6 hours.
Yeah. So
we're two people in the case of Kelsey and Taylor Swift.
Yeah. But it's I kind of saw that coming. That's 2027. And I saw people outraged. Well, what about 2026? Are we not having the 500 in 2026?
Yeah, dipshit. The schedule got released 2 months ago.
Yeah. It's like, do you really have nothing better to complain about than that? Come on. You're reaching. And I think, I think the NASCAR number, I think 2.556 million people for an NBC race at Talladega. I think it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I think that's great.
Not rocking the boat, but that's anything not involving a football, probably the highest rated sports telecast of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, with the ABC number, for the folks that want to say that with Formula One, the number was low. Well, yeah. Did you see, like you said, did you see how many people were there? Hell,
yeah.
You ain't got to watch it when you're live.
Yeah, just wait till next year when it goes to Apple.
Ah, man. Yeah, that's where I think that I have seen some Formula One folks that are kind of up in arms a little bit about that. But I have talked to people as well to where it's like, well, we'll just watch it there. And I think that's where it's a different demographic and mindset from the NASCAR fan to where it's like, oh shit, we can't find it, whatever. They know where it is. They're just going to get over there and watch it. Netflix, you got to have a subscription to watch that shit. So that's how a lot of people found it. And probably a lot of F1 fans, again, not to stereotype anything, most F1 fans probably already have Apple TV.
A little more affluent audience.
little different, but I will tell you one thing too, as we are after 8 o'clock here. And again, if you're just joining us with the Texas stuff, you have had several races, Waco, Rocket Raceway Park, so forth and so on. Those have been washed out already. Hasn't even started raining yet, but this forecast is a can't miss. So they say, it ain't gonna rain, right?
Because they said it's got a 80% chance to rain. The last I watched it, 6.
Yeah, it's going to go the other way. It's going to go the other way. So just if there was an event or is an event that you're planning to attend this weekend, doesn't matter where. It looks like everything's good for the World Crown 300 at Cordele, as Tim Bryant was talking about. I think you're good there. Of course, the streamers will have you all covered. I know. So you mentioned, I think we talked about Spire. So Suarez, now it's official. Good landing spot for him, I think.
Yeah, I think it works out. I mean, Justin Haley, unfortunately, he was in line to take over the 48 for Hendrick, and now he's out at Spire. He'd be a good fit for Dodge.
That's another guy to where it's like all of this potential, and again, where you hear about, well, he got Spire to victory lane. Well, no, he didn't. It rained. I don't care.
Yeah. There's a trophy at Spire for that race.
Yeah. So again, back to that. But
Rajah Cruz taking the Hendrick Cars money to JRM. That's a good move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a talented kid right there. But I like Suarez.
He's like a fun guy to have a beer with. I think he'd be fun on this show.
He seems like a White Claw guy to me. More than I don't think he drinks Natty Light and stuff like I do. Hell, you drink.
He's definitely not a Natty Light drinker.
Yeah, no, there aren't many of those. I know 2 I know 2 that have been on this program that drink that wonderful beer. But yeah, so you've got Suarez to the 7. I really do like that. I think that you can put that dude in there. Like you said, he's going to bring sponsorship. He's got a good following. I think that I don't want to say that they're going to make some noise, but I think that you put him in that car, and I think the potential is there to where he could do something from time to time, other than at the super speedway.
I thought that Spire would have made more noise this year.
Me too.
I really did, because Michael McDowell probably, I think he saw the writing on the wall with the whole charter thing at Front Row, which, by the way, did you see Bob Pockris, or actually Adam Stern, the lawyer for Front Row and 2311, and the lawyers for NASCAR have agreed to continue settlement talks.
Oh, nice. I saw that some texts had gotten released between O'Donnell and somebody, and it's like every time I see that, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's like, how do you get those? I mean, shit. I guess everything's public record, right? I mean, damn. Yeah, but I mean, I didn't see anything in those texts that were. I mean, it's business. I mean, it's business. But yeah, I mean, yeah, get it settled, get it done. I mean, I think that it's really imperative that they get that figured out. And then obviously, like you said, the schedule's out. And then at that point, that's where you figure out what you're doing. I mean, I think the point system's done, or I think that's already done. But you release that.
Redo it.
Yeah.
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 Get
that all done.
They're going to wait for the championship to be crowned, and then they'll probably announce it they're probably not going to announce anything till after the banquet.
Yeah, for sure. Probably, a week after.
But it'll leak. With as many podcasts that are out there with all these racers now, it'll leak with championship race. So.
Oh yeah. It'll come out. And I think it'll be something to the effect of the chase. I mean, something of a 10 race.
It's still going to be they're still going to have a playoff.
Yeah.
They may just not call it. I mean, whether or not you're in and win. I don't foresee them eliminating. I hadn't really heard much talk about that with them wanting to eliminate the stages. I think the teams like it. I don't think the fans as much, but when you're live at a race, that damn stage break comes right at the right time.
It does. You got to go hit the head. You got to do whatever you got to do. I mean, go get a hot dog. I mean, that's great. And the thing about it is that at TMS, for example, they run around there long enough to where you usually can go and do all of that and get back. And maybe they just went green, So Bobby, I guess if anything, if you want to kind of rectify some of that, just continue to award the stage points. Just don't throw a yellow. But the next thing is these races suck. It's just follow the leader. It's just continuous. I mean, and I know the folks want the 36 season, 37.
They tried the no cautions at the road courses, and look what happened there.
Yeah, they reverted back to what we have now.
Yeah.
So and the thing is, I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't think that having a dude win like Matt Kenseth and different guys that have won these things when the season's at whatever point, to me that's just not very, because I think from a team standpoint, I mean, you kind of see like when we get to the final race, when we get to Phoenix this year, you're going to have teams that are out there just riding around. What's on the line? Nothing. You got 4 dudes going for it. So. And that's the way it used to be. That's really the way it used to be. So I don't think that's the answer. So what do we know?
Yeah.
What do we know?
They'll come up with something. No matter what they come up with, somebody's going to bitch.
Oh.
Although realistically, though, they do have that marketing firm that's supposed to be, reaching back to the roots of the sport, that Kenny Wallace laughed at and all that. Did you see the 10,000 moms or million moms or whatever we're bitching about the NASCAR 2026
about the what is that?
Hell yeah. And they saying that that's not appropriate.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're going to have that, but that is kind of
the million moms is not my preferred demographic group that NASCAR is going for.
Yeah, well, that's Major League Sports these days. That's what you're going to get when it comes to that. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean that's I'm like, all right. And the whole thing is
sold a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin shirts.
I still go back to where it's like for all the older drivers or drivers in the past or influential NASCAR people that have been a part of the sport that don't like the direction that it's going, instead of being on the Twitter and on the Facebooks and all these different places and pointing out the bad shit, get involved. I mean, reach out to NASCAR. Maybe they are. We don't know if they have or haven't. Do it that way. I mean, because it is one of those things. You ever had that one coworker that is like, I hate the boss. I could do the job better than the boss. And then the boss comes around and they're sitting there, sucking their ass. It's like, come on. Yeah,
And if you don't have one of those people at your work, then you are that person.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So I don't know. It, when with marketing firms, I mean, that's the whole thing. I think the whole problem with that is when it was said that NASCAR brought in a new marketing firm, I don't think people even thought back to the whole thought of, oh, there was an old one, because there has been. There has been.
They don't do some of these dumbass ideas. They don't come up with on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at some of this and you want to talk about so-and-so's a jackass for that idea. He didn't come up with that. I mean, traditional racing people aren't going to come up with rap concerts in the pre-race.
Yeah.
So.
Or a Blake Shelton concert in the middle of the pits.
Where you can't even see him.
Yeah.
Behind a sign. I mean, come on. That's, say what you want to say about some of the NASCAR people, but they are still purists at some point. NASCAR purists, Bill Venturini, finally the deal, that's it. It's going to be weird not having the Venturini Motorsports around anymore. And I cut some sound up of Bill Venturini, not Billy, Bill Venturini talking about stepping away. And I think a lot of people can kind of resonate with some of the thoughts that Bill says here.
It's time. I'm very grateful that my health is good. So my wife and me, I should say my wife, I won't say me, but my wife had said, it's time for us to enjoy our life and move on. The only thing changing in this whole company operation is three things. Me and my wife are leaving, and we're moving actually to my building right next door, and the name on the building.
So how long before he gets back in? I'm getting out, but I'm going next door.
I'm going next door. That doesn't usually work out real well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walked out that door and saw your name on that building, and then all of a sudden you don't. I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah. What a run. And if for some reason things don't work out right or not with what Venturini Motorsports has done for so long, I guarantee you that he will go next door and maybe try to help out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's a consulting contract awaiting him.
Absolutely. But I get it. I mean, a couple of different things that he said right there. My wife decided, tired,
Usually the deciding vote on most things.
Tired of the shit. But anyway, think about this with Venturini, and we can do this in the off season, is like compile the list of people that have driven those cars. When we talk about people that have come through the ranks and continue to escalate themselves, man, how many people have driven that have done amazing things in motorsports?
Well, just in the last 5 years.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, exactly.
When they became the Toyota affiliate.
Yeah, they've owned the ARCA series, and they owned the ARCA series when the ARCA series was good. For the folks that say the ARCA series is no good. Speaking of that, I will tell you guys, Bobby, I've sent you a couple of screenshots and so forth. The NASCAR 25 video game, the ARCA cars are fun as F to drive. They have no horsepower. You can sit in there and you can kind of tweak them up a little bit, different things with setup, but those are fun to drive. Because it's like you can, so you jump on that thing, you do a quick race, and you build your own car and you're your own person or whatever, and you race against those guys, depending on what level you put it on. But when you do career mode and you go through that, it's like it seriously is. It's stressful. It's like shit, and you have a budget to work with. It's like, okay, you made $2,800 this week. What do you want to put towards chassis? What do you want to put towards engine? And it's just like regular racing, to where it's like, that's not enough. My car sucks. It's fun. Highly recommend that. NASCAR 25. ARCA trucks.
My Rover here just fell off the edge, just blind ass.
Oh well, that's yeah. It's the excitement of being on this program. I mean,
He loves being on this show.
He's a star. I'll tell you, he's a star. But yeah, check out NASCAR 25. You get a chance. It's
Working on it. Working on getting a new system. I finally have the wife agree. Actually, she didn't really agree. I just told her I was going to buy one. She's like, "Fine, buy one. Get it over with." She knows if I buy one, I won't be on her side of the house. I'll be stuck on my side of the house.
It'll keep you occupied. It will definitely keep you occupied. I've got to at this point to where it's like college football 25. That racing game now is really taking up a bunch of time. And PGA 25, it's like yeah, I'm good up here. So anyway, but yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Great show tonight, my man. Looking forward to a fun weekend. Like we said, if you have racing plans, be sure. Good luck to our friends at I-37 Speedway as they continue to be the outlier in the South Central Texas area that's hopefully going to be able to get a race in. And if your race has been rained out, get your ass to Pleasanton. Go on up there. They will take great care of you. Very hospitable. Facilities are good. I mean, get on up to 37. They got a brand new wall ready for you to hit. So yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, I think they'll get rain, but I don't know. As dry as it is down here, because they got a lot more rain up north than we have. So
yeah, it looks like from everything that I've seen, I mean, it looks like here in our area, we might get impacted, but when it comes to when you think about Pleasanton, that's a pretty good ways over there. You know, it's not. A lot of folks associate it right, like we've said so many times, associate it right to San Antonio. It is not in San Antonio.
It's about 40 miles south of San Antonio.
Yeah,
I guess southeast.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be good. We wish them all the best. Late models, factory stocks. I mean, they've got a loaded card that I hope people show up for because they need a good one to. Well, they got the redneck stress relief coming up, I guess, next week. But when it comes to hardcore on the racetrack action, this is it for them after a very challenging year. So they need to finish with a sprint.
Announced, and then they had that wall fall.
Sheesh.
So yeah, they missed a good at least 2/3 of their season down there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Rest of the week for you. I'm pulling out of here tomorrow about midday. I got to pick up some stuff, and I'm driving to Fort Worth to TMS. To probably sit in my hotel room all weekend. How about yourself?
I don't actually have anything planned. I've got to work all week because I took off last week to go to the Clash. But this week I have a bye week for both UTSA and Texas State. So there's really nothing to do except for watch some racing on Racing America. Hopefully I probably got a little bit of honey-do list to catch up on, and I'm working on some Halloween decorations and stuff around the house. So
there you go. And as Bobby mentioned right there, whether it's Racing America, whether it's Flow, whether it's Race On, based here out of Texas, whichever speed sport, be sure. And if you're looking for something to do with a college football season and so forth, you want to catch some racing, there is a streamer that will have something for you. We'll go ahead and pop this up one last time because I think that's our in AccuWeather forecast coming up for many of the parts that we're going to.
Oh, yeah, and big game. ESPNU has it. South Dakota State versus North Dakota State. Number 1 versus number 2.
Nice. I'll be checking in on SEC
it's
stuff.
It's FCS, so nobody really gives a shit. But
yeah,
should be probably one of the. If you're just a college football fan, that should be one of the best college football games of the year right there. It's at the Jackrabbits. So
yeah, could be big stuff coming up. All right, Bobby, have a great week, my man. Race fans, like we said, be safe out and about if you're traveling. A big thanks to Tim Bryant for checking in. Cordele Motor Speedway does a World Crown 300 coming up. You can catch that on Racing America. It's a full stacked field.
And if you caught us on the YouTube page, don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's right. If you are on that, be sure and like that as well. All right, Bobby, we're out of here. We'll do it again next week. Be sure and check in for the date and time as things are fluid. Our show times are kind of like this right here. They're fluid. So anyway,
they get really confirmed about Monday night about 6 o'clock.
Yes, exactly. Depending on what's going on, that's kind of when we all get it figured out. But that's the beauty of doing it this way is You guys are going to check in. All right. Y'all have a great week, and we'll do it again next time. # Real Race Talk from deep in the heart of Texas. This has been the Revved Up Sports Show. Take care, friends.